The church's one foundation is Jesus Christ her Lord. She is his new creation.
Hello, I'm Andrew Whaley, the pastor here at Raleigh Court Presbyterian Church. This is our Wednesday morning meditation. I invite you to join your hearts with me as we hear from God's Word today, again from the prophet Isaiah, the 33rd chapter, verses 2 through 6. O Lord, be gracious to us. We wait for you. Be our arm every morning, our salvation in the time of trouble. At the sound of tumult, peoples fled. Before your majesty, nations scattered. Spoil was gathered as the caterpillar gathers. As locusts leap, they leaped upon it. The Lord is exalted. He dwells on high. He filled Zion with justice and righteousness. He will be the stability of your times, abundance of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord is Zion's treasure. Some of you will remember Raleigh Court Presbyterian Church member Ann McCallum. Ann died a couple of years ago, having been a member here for over about 10 years. I remember visiting Ann when she was living at Brandon Oaks. She was moving from one part of the location to the other, and I was there on a day that a bunch of art was being installed into her apartment, and we sat in her living room and we talked, and I asked Ann about her growing up years, where she came from, how she came to be in Roanoke, and she told me this story I've never forgotten. Ann grew up in a military family, which, if you know about those, you end up moving every couple of years. So all of childhood, she moved every 2 years. And when she was an adolescent, people began to ask that question that you always ask teenagers: what do you want to be when you grow up? And Ann said, my answer always was home. I want to be home. You see, she'd spent so many years moving from house to house. She wanted desperately that sense of being settled in a home. Now, the great irony of this answer is that Ann married a man in the Navy, and so spent much of her adulthood also moving from place to place. But she collected these wonderful art pieces and other artifacts so that she could carry with her that sense of home, so that she could finally be settled. But it was really only upon retirement that they were able to be in one place, to be settled, to be home in that way. What Ann was ultimately talking about was desiring a sense of stability, of life being trustworthy and reliable and predictable. Now, many of us are feeling trapped right now in our homes, unable to go out and do work or school or activities that we would normally do. But when I'm talking about being home, of course, I'm not speaking about necessarily only a physical location. It's about that sense of stability, that sense of predictability, that sense of knowing day to day what is coming. And so around us, while we're even in our homes, we feel the instability. The increasing cases of COVID-19, the rising death tolls, the cries from the governors of New York and California, the changes within our own state here in Virginia. We continue to watch the stock market plummet no matter what kind of bill is being proposed in Congress, and we just really want our state of normal back. We really want that to happen sooner than later. We want somebody to tell us, okay, we can do this, just tell us how much longer before we're home, before this is all settled, before stability returns. When we read about the situation of Israel in their life in exile in Babylon, I've never really thought about it, but when the people are taken to Babylon, they don't know that they'll ever return home, that life will ever be normal again. We know that they do go home. Cyrus of Persia takes over and the people return home, but they don't know that when they're in Babylon. They do not know how long that time is going to be. Now, the passage that we read today may come from that time in exile. We don't actually know what kind of oppression the nation of Judah is suffering, but we do hear that it has this sort of apocalyptic cry for God to intervene. I think that's kind of helpful to us right now because we're not facing a war with a superpower, but this unknown, unseeable force that is causing chaos and destruction around us, and we cry out to God with our apocalyptic hope. What we hear Isaiah say is that we will wait for God, and then there is this trust that God will deliver the people from the oppressor. God will invade like locusts or caterpillars can invade a harvest. God will overwhelm the powers. And then it says, He will be the stability of your times. So here's what I can offer you, friends. We don't know how long we're going to be trapped in our homes, how long we're going to feel unsettled, but that doesn't mean we have to be unstable. Our stability is in God, the one who has created this world, this one who has redeemed this world, who has promised to be with us until the end of the age. That firm foundation holds, that stability stands. We rely on it even as we wait once more for deliverance.